Well, welcome back to Creative Live. This is the second half of the day. This is a 2-day course on recording rock vocals with Andrew Wade, and this morning has been super awesome. We talked about room acoustics, how to build your optimal space for recording vocals, and how to deal with clients of all different types, and that's just so helpful. I was just talking to a couple people during lunch, and that information, I think, is what I'm going to take away from this course so far. Is just the most important thing. So
that was very cool.
Yeah, be sure to log into the chat room if you haven't already. If you're watching the stream right now, you can log into the chat room right below the video. On the left is the link. Susan and I will both be in the chat room. Susan's in there a little bit more than I am.
No, I'm never in there. I'm never in there. I don't
But
chat.
not at all. Okay, anyways, we're going to get right back to it. So, Andrew, let's take it away. Let's go.
Let's do it. Here we are. Arrangement and tracking. So, we'll talk about actual tracking, like we're in the studio, and there will probably be some unexpected things because we got a vocalist here, Jessica, and we're going to have to set her volume, and we're using a bunch of different microphones, so it's going to be kind of a little dynamic segment here. So whenever I go into a song and think about vocals, these are all the different vocal elements that I like to play with or use and have at my disposal. These are basically all the different colors of paint that I use in my vocal paintings. So you got the main vocal, which depending on the song could be the whole thing. And then I'd kind of like to break it up into verse vocal and chorus vocal because we had a question about that earlier, and they can be different, and it's cool. And we'll show you what to do, what kind of cool techniques to use. Backups, that's typically, I would say, harmonies, just regular harmonies, and maybe some kind of any kind of repeating vocal. With a harmony on it, that is all included in backups. Awes, I don't know how other people categorize all their stuff, but I usually try to use the vocal kind of as almost like a keyboard sort of to carry the chord progression, and I use awes to do that. Sometimes they're really complex, sometimes they're really simple, but we're gonna show all that stuff. Then you got screams, which is the next segment. Group singing and group chanting, that is the next segment also. That's going to be fun. And we have affected vocals, so that's just anything that's non-typical, something with any effect on it, like lo-fi or distortion or crazy reverb or anything like that. Okay, so the different elements here. When you think about the main vocal, it should be something easy to sing quickly. I talked about that in the last section. It should be an organic pattern, maybe except for electronic music. We're talking really about rock music, but I know people like to point out flaws. So I've included that except for electronic music. But anyway, we're talking about rock music. So the vocals should feel organic. Like whenever my test that I do, and I'm going to do it here in a second, with the songs that I also write. Whenever you're doing production, I think, if you can't sing or you don't really write, you might want to start getting into that because it's a really valuable tool, especially when you have people come in that just, they might be lacking in that area. So it should be easy to sing quickly. It should flow off your tongue, and it should be an organic pattern that's just something that it just flows. It should be interesting, whatever. That's obvious. Yeah. Should feel good when you sing it. Okay, so let me see what we use. Okay, yeah. Just before we get into tracking, actual tracking, I just want to talk about a few things. Okay, so this song has a complex vocal arrangement in it, and I want you to think of it like a sandwich. sometimes whenever you're doing it, whenever you're creating a vocal part like this that has tons and tons of layers, you don't want a sandwich that just has like 5 types of lettuce in it. You want a meaty melody and creamy mayonnaise backups and crispy lettuce screams, or whatever. You want all these different elements. You don't want just a bunch of the same thing. Otherwise, what have you created? It's just a pile of nothing. So you got to think of all the different textures and feels and all that stuff. So here's a bunch of different things to keep in mind if you're trying to create. You're like, well, what are the different things? You can have a rhythm, the vocal cadence that is quick and one that is slow. And it's easy for those to complement each other because they're not getting jumbled together. You have one that's going fast and the other one is like going slowly behind it. So it's really easy to discern. If you have 2 fast cadences going at the same time, it tends to get pretty jumbled. And but there are some cool ways that you can actually do that. But anyway, high and low melodies, that's a really easy way to set different textures apart in there in your vocal arrangement sandwich. And you got panning. So say you have 2 really jumbled things. It might be kind of cool if you hard pan one left and hard pan one right in the mix. So like if you listen with headphones or in your car, it kind of separates that and you can clearly hear each one. So that's just a way, if you did want kind of a jumbled thing, there's still a way to clear it up. You got affected vocals and no affected, vocals without effects, like with the telephone effect, lo-fi effect, super high end, super low end, whatever. You can have a guy voice and a girl voice because they sound different, just different singers tend to stand out from each other. And then you have calm, maybe really airy singing, and then another layer of like energetic singing. So these are all the elements that it's cool to have these in mind at your disposal, just kind of in your brain. It's like, I want to make something really cool, really complex. Here's a bunch of cool ingredients, stuff that I like to use when I do it. So a trick to really get this stuff right is I'll use a MIDI track and organize via velocities. So let's actually go into the session really quick. Now, I do want to apologize. I'm on a Mac. I usually use a PC. I swear. Okay. All right, so this is the track that you guys heard in the first segment called Take It Slow. And this little MIDI track, I just got to activate a plugin here really quick so you can hear it. This MIDI track is everything that I have vocally in the track. So for this to make more sense, I'll play it for you in just a second. So let's just take, I don't know, anything here. I think they have some. When you are planning this stuff out via MIDI, it's best to have a very simple sounding pad. So I don't know what this pad sounds like. Yeah. Okay, so here we are. All right, so while you're writing these parts, so this is what it looks like here. It's kind of like a mess, but it's actually pretty organized. What I like to do, let me just play the vocals so you guys know what the heck this is. Let the small things slide, 'cause they just don't matter. Let them build up and the whole thing shatters. Roll it off. It's enough to break it up. Let the small things slide, 'cause they just don't matter. Let them build up and the whole thing shatters. Roll it off. It's enough to break it up. So that end part that I just played is what the MIDI is. So when I'm writing complex vocals, it's easy. You want to put down an ah, like, we have ah. Wait, let it go. So you have that melody in there, and it's easy to like write simple things like that. But then when you try to add other things, sometimes those things don't really mesh. And you're like, what notes are messing with what notes? So what you do is you start with the MIDI. So you just write the basic thing that you've written. So let's take so this is one of the ahs that's in the background. So that's the first thing that I actually wrote for this. And then what you want to do is I have this. This is a really cool trick that I like to do. You can make a bunch of different MIDI layers, or each layer that you write in Pro Tools. I don't know how it is in other programs, but in Pro Tools, whenever you lower the velocity, it kind of like changes the color of the other notes. So you can see and you can highlight just the different layers. So this is another melody pattern here. This is another melody pattern here. That's another one there. So you have it all there right in front of you, and it's really organized, and you can see what notes are messing with other notes. And when you want to hear something, and this is just so you can stay, you know, in the same. Oh, that's just the octave. So you can stay in the same screen and easily write this stuff. So that's another one. It's boring by itself, but when you put them all together, you know, it sounds wonderful, hopefully. So anyway, MIDI is a great tool to use. So what I'll do is I'll put that main melody in there, and then I'll also put the chords in there of the, like I'll usually grab a guitar, or if you can play the piano or whatever. Hopefully if you're a producer or you're working in the studio, you know how to use an instrument of some kind. So you just literally take each chord, find the root and the fifth, and then the major or minor of the chord, put it in there, go to the next one, put it in there, etc., unless you already know which ones to do. So then you can visually see all the chords and organize all the vocal parts and play it all together, and if you want to adjust one little thing, you can do it really easily. I've gotten into this before where I'll lay down so many tracks, and then at the end I listen to it, I'm like, man, this doesn't actually work. This doesn't actually make sense, and why is it? Sometimes you're forming chords that aren't part of it, and it can get really confusing. So this is a really easy tip. So here are all the vocals. We got all these, and these, and these, and these. A lot of stuff here. So anyway, that's it. I love that trick. I use it all the time. It keeps me really organized, and I got like a little roadmap almost there.
I need to ask Jessica a quick question. Do you need a lyrics printout? I forgot to get you one. I brought one. You brought one. You're good. Okay.
She's prepared.
All right, cool.
Okay, so all right, so here we go. This is oh, there we are. Okay, so this is the song. Let me just play the beginning of it, which you guys have not heard.
Trade this money for some time.
So that's in the key that is good for a female vocal.
I'll trade this money for some time.
Well, that's not actually in the right key, but that doesn't matter. Because I just want to demonstrate here. So when I wrote this song, so this is for songwriters basically. When I wrote this song, I wrote it so it was like really comfortable for myself. And if I left it in this key, Jessica would be like singing super high or super low, and that's kind of weird when you're a male writing for a female vocal. So this is just a little trick that I use. So I wrote it here. I'll trade this money for some time. I'll take whatever I can find. It's like digging for gold. So like for me, it's like really comfortable. But if you were in this key, how is this register for you, by the way?
That'd be a little low.
What?
That would be a little low.
It would be low?
I'd trade this money for some time.
Yeah. So if you are writing for a female vocalist, for those of you who write pop or whatever, it might seem, like a good key, but it's really easy to get lost. So what I did before this session is I actually, I had somebody else come to the studio just so I could make sure that the key was right. So, and that's all part of making your vocalist comfortable. Had I not done that, Jessica would be in the worst position ever right now. She would start singing and everything would fall apart. And I mean, that happens in the studio and you want to do everything you can to avoid that. So I went the extra mile to get somebody else to even do this, just so she would be comfortable. So that's the kind of mindset that you need to have. It's like, you need to go as far as you can to get the best thing out of these other people. So that's that. Let's, okay. This is the next one. Okay, so let's go to the mic shootout. That's the next thing. Like choosing the best microphone for the vocalist or for the song, etc. What I'm going to do today is I'm using two condensers. We got the SM57 and the RE20. And then we're using the, what do we got here? Then we got the U87 and the C414 that we're going to try out. Now, everybody's new here, so we haven't got a chance to get a vocal level, and the dynamic microphones are a lot quieter. So we're going to have to take a second to just make sure that we get the vocal right so that we're not over or under compressing anything, or just make sure that these vocal levels are good. All right, so this is how we're doing it. Let me just kind of show this setup. We have two microphones side by side, like touching really, as close as they can be together, right in the center of the pop filter. So she's going to go through it a few times, just till she, gets comfortable with it or whatever. And one of the things that you want to do in the studio is kind of not make the vocalist feel rushed, because if they feel rushed, then they're like, well, we just got to get through this. It's like let's just get this done. But it's like, you can do this as many times as you want. You can mess up if you want. It doesn't matter. We have the time to do it. So that's what I want to do. I want to go through it a few times. She doesn't have to get it perfect on the first try. It doesn't matter. You don't have to expect anyone to do that. You don't want to make anyone feel like they have to do that. So after we do that, we're going to switch it out with those other two mics so we can hear the differences between the dynamic and the condenser mics. We may be surprised. Who knows? I think I already know what I want to choose because I've recorded the song like 10 times. But we'll try it anyway. Let's talk about really quick before we do that. The click track and headphones. If you have, are there any headphones over here? No? Okay. So we brought a few just different kinds of headphones in here for you guys to see. I just wanted to talk about these different types because some people think that these little things don't matter, but they really do. These are, I don't know. Well, here's what I'm going to prove to you today. I don't know what all these brands are and stuff, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that you know what you're looking for. So what I want when I'm tracking vocals is a pair of headphones that's comfortable and that also blocks any kind of leakage coming from out of the headphones. Now these feel, I mean, we're going to try these or whatever, but these feel kind of loose, like, you know, some sound might escape through these. And then we have these really gnarly, like, what is it, like helicopter, like headphones. It feels like a gel seal, and I put them on, it's like airtight. It's pretty comfortable, to be honest. So these feel like they block out the sound pretty well. Because you're going to have, like, especially for these quieter songs, the click track is going to bleed and actually have some tricks where you can crank the click and have it not bleed. And I'll show you that right before we start. Then we have another one here. These look pretty cool, donated. I think, Drew, are these the ones that you donated? Yeah. Yeah. These seem pretty cool. Comfortable. These might kind of block it out a little bit. And check with the vocalist. Maybe we'll put these helicopter ones on her and she'll fly away. No, she'll be really uncomfortable or whatever. So sometimes if a vocalist uses headphones where it does bleed, I want to show you right now some tricks on how to prevent bleed, especially from the click. So right before we start, obviously I want her to sing with a click track. So right before we start, I just want to get that situated really quick. It's a very simple trick. So what I've noticed is the click track, mainly when it comes through, it's just the high end. So I just put a low pass filter on the click, and the high end does not come through, but it's still just as loud in their ears. So I just have it cut off here around 1K. And that has saved me so many times. Like doing acoustics, just anything really quiet, just throw a high pass filter on that click. I like to use the cowbell click that comes with Pro Tools. Oops. Yeah, so that's what it sounds like.
Can you play that? Andrew, can you actually play that real quick with the high pass disabled and then high pass on?
Yeah.
Because that may be a trick that a lot of people at home don't know. They just.
So this is without it. I mean, this is with it. That's without it, yeah. So, and you can even, if that's not loud enough, you can even turn that up still, and it will be fine. Because that's not really what comes through the headphones into the microphone. All right, so we're going to have our click. We're going to use a muffled click like this. So let's start. So we're just going to kind of sing through the verse, you know, casually a few times, just so we can get these levels good. And for instance, this is a softer song. So you want your vocalist to be comfortable and calm, because if they're not, their voice might sound like shaky, or it won't be as airy as you might want it, especially for these calmer songs here. So make sure you give your vocalist enough. Come on. These shortcuts are different. Give me a break. Make sure you give them enough pre-roll into the part. Make sure they can hear themselves and hear the music. So I need to get a pair of headphones. I will use these. Let's see. For the, you know what? For this demonstrational purposes, let's use these. These probably bleed the most, so I actually want to try these. These are pretty comfortable though, too. So, do you normally track with both headphones on or one off, or?
Usually like to
Do it a little bit like, that's exactly how I do it, where it's like halfway off my ear. It's crazy, great minds think alike. That is exactly what I do. So it's not like all the way behind her head. It's just a little halfway off there. So I'm gonna get mine here. Now I guess you guys aren't gonna hear the music if I'm correct, because I gotta mute it. Otherwise, it's gonna like bleed really bad into the microphone. But everybody at home will hear the music. Okay. So let's see here. Just go ahead and talk. Just say the alphabet if you want.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. I feel like I'm being tested. Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z.
Okay, hold on a sec. All right, so I'm noticing here, I shouldn't have this on, but I had some reverb on there. I hate having anyone track with reverb because they're hearing themselves come back, and if they hit a wrong note, then it's like kind of a reminder that you just hit a bad note. So it's good to just take those things off. You can just hear exactly what you're doing instead. Okay, let's see. So we got. So these are dynamic mics. They're not quite as sensitive here. Go ahead and talk one more time.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z.
Okay. This is probably pretty good. Now, I may adjust a little bit more as we go, but just for now, this should be cool. All right, so let me just play it. Let me just play it one time. So what I'm doing right now, just so you know, I want to play it and I want to make sure that her headphones are at the right volume. It's kind of nerve-wracking when you kind of just throw a vocal, like, go, do it. You know, it's like, well, wait, my headphones aren't, you know, explain what you're doing. So let's get a headphone level, make sure it's not too loud, make sure you're not too quiet, etc.
I'll trade the money for some time. I'll take whatever I can find. It's like digging for gold. It's getting old. My walls are only in my mind. Like coals, they burn a hole inside. I gotta let 'em go. It's getting old. We were meant to be. We were meant to be alone.
Okay, my vocal was accidentally in there. Cool, all right. Yeah, these levels are really low. Like I said, it's a quiet part, and these are dynamic mics, which may not be the best choice for this quiet song. But sometimes it is. Sometimes it's cool. Like I said, it's your vision, what you're going for. Sometimes you do want that lo-fi effect. Now, if I did do something like this, where it's the acoustic and the vocal, I might also use the same microphone on the acoustic, so it like kind of blends a little bit better, instead of it sounding like a super bright acoustic and like a really muffled vocal. If anything, I would kind of want the opposite, so like the vocal kind of stands out more. Okay, so how are you on your level? Do you want to hear yourself more, or are you good? You good? Okay.
I think I'm good.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's go through. Now, I've done all the hard work here. Normally, whenever you're working with a band, they might go through and I might like change the melody and lyrics like line by line as we go. But this is all already done to what I like, so we're not really going to be doing that. Just so you know how things normally go. All right, so let's go through it, the whole thing one more time. Now that we got the levels good. Actually, let's go ahead and try it again. I made a little change to the preamp. Let's just go ahead and go through it one more time.
I'll trade this
this money for some time. I'll take whatever I can find. It's like digging for gold. It's getting old. My words are only in my mind. Like coals, they burn a hole inside. I gotta let 'em go. It's getting old. We weren't meant to be. We weren't meant to be alone. Take it slow, 'cause you miss the years as they go by. Take it slow, 'cause the race to the end is if you don't find. You'll never know about goodbye.
Cool. Were you reading or did you have that memorized?
I had it mostly memorized.
Cool. Good, good, good. All right. I did a no, I accidentally cut it off at the end. Oh, and when you're tracking vocals, you can't really see on this screen. I have to make it bigger. Okay, yeah, this, I think it's called, I actually forget what the mode is called, but it's what happens when you have this enabled. It's 6 on the numeric keypad. Let's say you're punching in on a spot. Anything that's playing back from pre-roll, even if it doesn't sound like it's being recorded, is being recorded. So, since I made a mistake here at the end and I cut her off, let's say that we have to punch in right there. So what I would ask you to do is I'm going to start recording and it's just going to start playing from the top of the chorus and just jump in whenever you know where it is and just finish out the chorus. Now, the reason that I do that is so whenever her take comes in, it's a natural transition into that part. It's not just like, jump in right there. I need you to just do that one word. You need like a really natural sounding transition to make sure you don't hear any edits or anything like that. So let's go ahead and do that the end of the chorus. So just jump in when you're familiar with the part. Cool. Okay. All right, so those are our dynamic mics. Actually, you know what? Let's get a few more takes. I like to do this. You can make alternate playlists in Pro Tools, but not everybody's using Pro Tools, so let's just... I just made a bunch of extra tracks so we can just drag the takes down. You can make alternate playlists where it's like all on the same track, but I actually don't even like doing that, so whatever. All right, so let's go ahead and just go through that part a few more times. I heard some timing things here and there, so let's just get you comfortable with actually singing the part here in the Creative Live studio. And this is what I like to do. Even if a vocal is, I'm taking my wallet out. Even if a vocalist does know does well or does know the part, let them do it a few times because sometimes they work out little things, little nuances in their voice, and that's especially the case with good singers. It's like you want them to find, like Jessica has a very unique voice, so I want her to find her favorite things while she's recording. She's obviously probably never recorded the song, maybe practiced it, but she may have never recorded it. And And that's a lot different because it's like, okay, can you go back to this take or that take because I might have done something cool that I liked, and that might be the new way you actually do it. So there might be little timing changes or melody changes or anything like that. So the tip that I'm giving right now is you simply just go through the part a few times and see what happens, especially with a good vocalist. A bad vocalist might just give you completely different takes every time, but that's not the case. We have Jessica here, so let's go ahead and just do it a few more times.
I'll trade this money for some time. I'll take whatever I can find. It's like digging for gold. It's getting old. My words are only in my mind. Like coals they burn a hole inside. I gotta let 'em go. It's getting old. We weren't meant to be. We weren't meant to be alone. Take it slow, 'cause you miss the years as they go by. Take it slow, 'cause the race to the end is a beautiful fight. Oh my, you'll never know what a goodbye.
Cool, cool. All right, so let's go ahead and just do that again.
I'll trade this money for some time. I'll take whatever I can find. It's like digging for gold. It's getting old. My words are only in my mind. Like coals they burn a hole inside. I gotta let 'em go. It's getting old. We weren't meant to be. We weren't meant to be alone. Take it slow, 'cause you miss the years as they go by. Take it slow, 'cause the race to the end is a beautiful fight. Oh my, you'll never know what a goodbye.
Cool. All right, so let's start listening to some of the different microphones that we've chosen here. So let's say if I was doing this and we had plenty of time to do this for real, I would play it through, especially if they know it like this. We would sing it a bunch of times. Well, and specifically if it's a song like this where you can sing it. There are some songs where you kind of have to like rush through words and like sometimes like words get cut off and stuff. But I kind of, like when I was talking about earlier, when you're writing a song, you want it to flow. You want it to flow. You want it to be, you want people to sing along to it, you know? Like if you can't sing it and you're the singer, other people aren't going to be able to sing along to it. So if you can sit there with an acoustic or on a piano or an electric guitar and sing it and it feels good and it's kind of, you know, it's catchy, like, then you probably have a good song. But if you can't even do that, I mean, there are different genres of music, but I'm kind of specifically talking about this like pop, like folk, rock and stuff. So, but the same does go for other genres, especially in choruses, but we'll get to that later. Now, you guys probably haven't been hearing anything, obviously, except vocals. All right. So here we go. We got the 57 and the RE20. So this is the 57. Now I have some processing on these channels just by default, but they're I will definitely have to change these because these are not mics that I used when I got these settings at all. So I might just kind of be adjusting as I go. Oh, and another little tip about the click. It's cool if you're proactive, like maybe during a gap in a song, you turn the click down or you just mute it during the gap. I didn't do that, but I do that a lot whenever it's necessary. Okay, so as you can hear, well, or you might not be able to hear, I'm playing it back. This is the beginning of the song. I can barely hear the acoustic. You guys probably can't really hear that, but I can barely hear the acoustic, and then I can't hear the click at all. But like in the headphones, it was pretty clear. So it did not bleed out at all, even though those headphones aren't even sealing it, sealing the sound out very well. So here's the character.
I'll trade this money for.
Here, let's take all the processing off this. Maybe just leave some.
I'll trade this money for. I'll trade this money for some time.
So
I'll take whatever I can find.
what I'm hearing,
It's like digging for gold.
what I'm hearing in this, with this vocal mic, the characteristic that I'm hearing is it's kind of thin sounding, and that's natural for like, that's a 57 right now, what we're hearing. And obviously, Jessica has a higher register. She doesn't have like a lot of low-end body, like a male in her voice. So the 57, well, in my opinion, at least right now, hearing this in this situation with her voice in this song, that's not the right choice, because to me it sounds a little bit thin. There could be things that you could do to like try to boost those frequencies, but the best sound is going to be right at the source. If you get it right at the source, it's going to sound great.
I'll trade this money for some time.
This is the RE20.
I'll take whatever I.
Actually, I have to check. I don't know if this has the bass roll-off. Yeah, that is no bass roll-off. Wow. So there's a bass roll-off feature on that microphone, and it's not rolled off. That's it still sounds kind of lacking body here.
I'll take whatever I can find. It's like digging for gold. It's getting old.
Okay, so I gotta change this. I like just so you guys know what I just did here. Under options in Pro Tools, there's a solo mode called X, or I don't know what that means. But whenever you go to it, especially if you're comparing two things, if you enable that, as soon as you hit solo, it just goes right from one to the other versus like having to unsolo one and then solo the other. And it's been a huge help for me, especially when we're doing
I'll trade this money
so you can hear
for some time.
it change right away.
I'll take whatever I can find. It's like digging for gold.
So as I kind of know these microphones, so I kind of knew that it would sort of sound like this, kind of, thin, not a lot of, there's still some air in there, but I think we could get a little more clarity out of like a condenser. So let's actually switch those out if we could. I don't know who we had to do this. Was someone going to come out? I forget.
Do we need someone to come out and switch the mic?
Yeah, I think that's what we talked about.
All right, we'll have
We
Josh
did.
come
I'm
out.
sorry, we did a lot during
He's
That's
on
okay.
his way.
during the break.
Josh is on it.
I just didn't remember. Okay. So, while Jamie switches those out, thank you, Jamie. We're going to get the other tracks ready. Okay, so, and it's really important when you're in a studio doing whatever, that everything you do is really organized. like all these tracks are labeled as the name of the microphones that we're trying. So you don't try out a bunch of mics and then you listen to one and you're like, oh wait, what mic was that? So it's really important to keep that in mind, like right when you start.
Do you have any like tips or tricks for keeping that organized? Because I know it gets like, it becomes a huge amount of information just from like the preamp all the way through the signal chain. How, you know, did you have the low cut on the mic? Did you have the...
Oh, like that?
Like that?
Yeah. That,
Is there a good way to do that?
I usually, well, in Pro Tools, I usually make notes.
You use that notes field?
On the track, yeah. But the problem with that is like when you copy the track, it copies it to the next track and sometimes we forget to change that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I just do what I can. Sometimes I'll try to put like, if I do something weird, I try to put all the info in the track title, you know, like 13 dB cut, whatever.
Yeah. That would be a super long track title, but it works.
Yeah, I try to abbreviate and then I don't know what I'm talking about later. It's just...
Another thing I do often in the studio is just have my camera and any of the outboard gear. I'll take lots of photos.
I take pictures, yeah, too.
Know my settings.
What's cool is I usually use Google Docs. I use Google Docs a lot in the studio, because especially with singers when we're working on lyrics. They'll usually like have their phone. I don't know if you've ever used Google Docs, but you can make a document, and then as soon as you edit it, it appears on their device, and you can both work on it at the same time. So if they have lyric change, they can change the lyrics, and it changes on yours. So like, there's not a bunch of weird, like, oh, hey, I need those lyrics floating around. So Google Docs is cool, especially working for vocalists. So everyone in the band can be working on it. So they're, you know, sitting on their laptops, changing things. So it's really cool to stay organized in that way. And the, like what you said with pictures, I usually upload it to Google Docs also, just so I can share that information with anybody that's helping me out, or so I can easily organize and label the files, and, you know, say I don't have my phone or something, I can look on my computer and it's there. So you could probably do that with Dropbox or something else, but I'm just a fan of the Google Drive stuff. Google plug. Anyway, I'm not sponsored by them. I wish. That would be crazy. All right, so yeah, keep that organized. It's a little tricky, huh?
You just want to flip Phantom Power on, we'll be good.
Yeah. I want to just check the settings that are on. They're actually on the mics. So I'm putting these both on cardioid pattern. And since this is quiet, I'm not turning the pad on the microphone. I can't even see the back of this. I should have thought about this. Let's turn that off. So what I'm going to do is I'm also going to turn the bass roll off. Since we had a little problem with fullness. Should be good. Should be. So if you're doing a shootout with mics, they got to be as close as possible to, you know, being at the same position. It's theoretically impossible, but you can get close. All right. Should be good. Cool.
Just a production question. I have seen some people actually do takes where they'll blend a dynamic and a condenser.
Yeah. Some
You
people
ever
do that.
use that sometimes?
I've like messed around with stuff like that, but I haven't gotten the results where it's worth having like you saw how many vocal tracks like I work with. Mm-hmm. It's not, to me, not really. I haven't found a way to use it like that where it benefits me enough to have like all those vocal tracks floating around. I'm sure there's some cool technique with that, but for me, it's not something that works out for me or has benefited me so greatly that I have.
Yeah, I remember just one specific take that a friend had done where he wanted a full rich vocal, which he got out of the normal condenser, but they wanted a really like over-processed radio-style voice.
Yeah.
And they put a 57 and then took that signal, and then when they blended it, they had a separate
That's cool.
one, and it worked for that
Yeah,
application.
I've done like really wacky stuff like that, and it's cool to experiment and stuff, and I really encourage it, and I think people should definitely try that kind of stuff. But I also like I kind of like having a tool that will kind of get me to where I want, like as much like just my go-to microphone, which like we talked about the Peluso. So sometimes my focus ends up being more on like making sure the music is good, instead of like trying to do something weird or super different that no one's ever thought of. Even though I am still looking for new things to do all the time. I just haven't found a place for that in my tracking setup. But it wouldn't stop me from doing that. I would still try that. If a band came in, they're like, we want to do this, I'd be like, yeah, sure, awesome, let's try it. I just haven't, you know, maybe they know more about it than I do. You can always learn. I'm a teacher and I am learning. It's a good attitude for everyone, just so you know. Nobody knows everything. Another life lesson by Andrew Wade. Okay, so we had a problem. Those two dynamic mics sounded a little too thin. We got these compressors here. They should be pretty full-bodied sounding, pretty airy top end here. So let's get this. Whoa, I can hear it already. Can you hear that? It's like the air conditioner or something. What a difference. There's like dust in the pots, dusty pots. Okay, so these microphones are dramatically different. So I'll probably have to get new levels for these. So, can't see. All right. Ready?
I'm ready.
Let's try it.
I'll trade this money for some time. I'll take whatever I can find. It's like digging for gold. It's getting old. My words are only in my mind. Like coals, they burn a hole inside. I gotta let 'em go. It's getting old. We weren't meant to be, we weren't meant to be alone. Take it slow, 'cause you miss the years as they go by. Take it slow, 'cause the race to the end is a beautiful fight. You'll never know when to
Okay. Cool. I like that initiative. She's going to the next part. This already sounds 1,000 times better. And I'm not sponsored by condenser mics in general. 57 is one of my favorite mics. I guess not for this. Whatever. So I was really changing a lot of these as you were going. So let's just go through it again because those levels were changing pretty dramatically. All right. Ready?
I'll trade this money for some time. I'll take whatever I can find. It's like digging for gold. It's getting old. My words are only in my mind. Like coals, they burn a hole inside.
All right, I do want to talk about some things really quick. Make sure that whenever you, this obviously isn't normal for me. I'm not in the studio, so things are a lot different. But if you can come up closer to where you were singing really quick.
Yes.
I always like to check where the vocalist's mouth is. I didn't even do this, and I apologize. Their mouth should literally go straight to wherever the diaphragm is when you look at it to the side. And if you get it too close, it'll start to sound really boomy. So just a comfortable distance from the actual diaphragm of the microphone, maybe about 6 inches or 10 inches, probably no further than that. The further you get, the more room sound you have. The closer you get, the more like boominess you have. So you want kind of just a comfortable distance. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, let's do this. We're trying to get the perfect vocals, right? So it's all about doing whatever you have to do to get it perfect. So I noticed whenever we were playing back before that there was some bleed from these. Now, if she's fine with singing with these, this is a better choice. So if any time you're doing something in the studio and you just feel like, man, this could be better or whatever, do it. Like any instinct, anything that's you feel is just weird or just makes you uncomfortable, just change it. Make sure that you actually are getting the best of everything you can, especially if you have other things laying around. Don't just be like, oh, they're on the other side of the house. Do everything you can to make it right. So whenever we were using those dynamic mics, I was just like feeling so gross because I hated the way they sounded. And now we're using these and I feel great. And that's what should happen in the studio. Like everything that you do, you should feel great about it. And that's when you know you're actually doing something good. So hopefully these are comfortable enough. Good enough? What do you think? Okay, let's try it. So this should isolate the vocal even more. So keep that in mind. Do whatever it takes to get the vocals perfect. And this stuff, especially when you get to editing, this is the stuff that matters. Like if you have a vocalist who absolutely has to like sing in the room with the music and not wear headphones, it's unfortunate, but if you get the best vocal take out of them, then that's kind of what you have to do. But like for today, if you can be picky, you need to know what to be picky about. And like these are the kinds of things that you can do to get the absolute best vocals. And that's what we're going for today. So let's go ahead and go through that again. And I was noticing, see, I couldn't hear her very well. So I'll just kind of turn that up a little bit. Okay, so today, just so you guys understand, today is only tracking, editing is later. Just so you understand that. Editing is totally different. All right, so let's go ahead and go through that again. Just same thing.
I'll trade this money for some time. I'll take whatever I can find. It's like digging for gold. It's getting old. My walls are only in my mind. Like coals, they burn a hole inside. I gotta let 'em go. It's getting old. We weren't meant to be alone. Take it slow, 'cause you'll miss the years as they go by. Take it slow, 'cause a race to the end is a beautiful ride.
Cool. All right, so I consider this is like when the real tracking has actually begun, because we found headphones that are comfortable, that don't bleed. We found the microphones. Oh, actually, we're still recording with 2. Let's just listen to those. But after we choose that, we basically have the right material to choose from. Then that's basically it to start.
I'll trade this money for some time. I'll take whatever I can find. It's like digging
Speakers on
for
out here by accident.
gold. It's getting old. My woes are only in my mind. Like coals, they burn a hole inside. I gotta let 'em go. Like coals, they burn a hole inside. I gotta let 'em go.
Okay, so I'm hearing the space between the takes, super clean. Headphones are working. So now what I'm hearing between the U87 and the C414,
Like coals, they burn a hole inside. I gotta let 'em go.
and this is C414.
Like coals, they burn a hole inside. I gotta let 'em go.
To me, what I'm noticing, there's like a kind of a presence missing from the C414.
Like coals, they burn a hole inside. I gotta let 'em go. Like coals, they burn a hole inside. I gotta let 'em go.
Okay, so they're both actually pretty similar, but it might just be because I'm used to a U87. Like that's what I've used for years and years. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna take this mic away. Don't need that anymore. Just got to make sure this is perfectly positioned. All right. Okay, go ahead and. Cool. Looks good. Yes.
As far as mic position, I know, when you're using a live performance mic,
Yeah.
they tell you not to sing directly into it, kind of have it just at a slight angle.
At an angle?
Well, I've just heard singing, just a few degrees off of center, so you don't get so much bass into it if you get right up on it.
Oh.
But with like a condenser mic or something like that, do you suggest singing directly into it,
Yeah.
straight on?
I actually haven't heard that about performance mics.
I've just seen differences in tone depending on how you
Oh
angle
yeah,
it.
for sure. I'm sure that definitely has.
But we're talking studio here, so that's what I
Yeah.
was asking.
Yeah, I've never had any good results, as good of results as when it's straight on.
Okay.
I mean, I think the mics are built to sound the best at that point, like this.
Good to know.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So we've chosen our microphones. I don't care about these other takes. They're gone. Unless I'll make this choice later. So we'll hide them. Bye. All right. So this was a pretty easy choice. We only want the U87 tracks. Oops. Come on. Okay. So just making a bunch of other tracks so we can have a bunch of different takes. Like I said, you could use alternate playlists if that's your preference. The way you do that in Pro Tools is you just hit new and you name it whatever, and then you can record on there and you can go back to each take. But I've noticed weird things happen with that, especially if you group tracks, sometimes certain things don't, I don't know, I've had weird problems with it, so I just kind of try to keep it simple. Okay. All right, here we go.
I'll trade this money for some time. I'll take whatever I can find. It's like digging for gold. It's getting old. My walls are only in my mind. Like coals, they burn a hole inside. I gotta let them go. It's getting old. We weren't meant to be, we weren't meant to be alone. Take it slow, 'cause you miss the years as they go by. Take it slow, 'cause the race to the end is a futile fight. Oh my, you'll never know a final goodbye.
Okay. Since I moved the mic a little bit, I guess everything matters. I was hearing some different things, so I have to make an adjustment. There's a little more bass because we were directly on, so I'm just adjusting for that. Let's just go through that one more time. I'm sorry?
Can we turn on the clip a little?
Oh, yeah.
Thanks.
That's always a good request. All right. Ready?
I'll trade this money for some time. I'll take whatever I can find. That's digging for gold. It's getting old. My walls are only in my mind. Like coals, they burn a hole inside. I gotta let them go. It's getting old. We weren't meant to be, we weren't meant to be alone. Take it slow, 'cause the years will use as you go by. Take it slow, 'cause the race to the end is a futile fight. Oh my, you'll never know a final goodbye.
Okay. Yeah, it's all good. Okay. This is coming in.
Do you want to talk us through just some of those little tiny micro adjustments you're making?
Yeah, I'm just
So what do you notice?
these aren't the exact compressors that I have, so I'm just trying to. I just noticed it was coming in a little bit hot. Like it looks like it's almost clipping, which is not what you want. I just want people to know at home that that is like way too compressed as you're going in, just so you know.
How much headroom do you like to have on a vocal track?
Well, if you're compressing it, I think that should be that. Well, you always just want it as close to clipping as you can without it being clipping. So it's usually like bouncing. I usually like it bouncing around in the yellow, like underneath the red. I don't know how many dB down that is, but that's just a good visual guide, so you're probably pretty safe. All right, so let's do this. Let's sing the first two lines. Just the two. Just digging for, let's stop at digging for gold.
I'll take whatever I can find. It's like digging for gold.
Okay, go ahead and just do it one more time.
I'll trade this money for some time. I'll take whatever I can find. It's like digging for gold.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. This is a more like it should be with. You can actually see some of the dynamics, but it is still compressing it just a little bit to control it. Okay, so that's good. Now, and that's another thing. If you are in a session and you notice something like this and it is clipping, even if you're teaching on Creative Live, you stop and you say, hold on, let's redo that because it's clipping. Like, I have to use these vocals later for another segment. So if this is not right, the consequence is that's messed up. So it's even worse later whenever you're mixing a band and you can't do anything and it's just completely ruined. The consequences are much greater. So this is fine. I feel good about these levels. Now, sorry, these aren't my compressors that I always use. Sometimes it's tricky. You just got to take your time, make sure it's right. Take it slow, if you will. It's a little session joke. All right, so stop at, let's sing through the verse up until we weren't meant to be alone. So here we go.
I'll trade this money for some time. I'll take whatever I can find. It's like digging for gold. It's getting old. My woes are only in my mind. Like coals, they burn a hole inside. I gotta let them go. It's getting old.
Awesome. Okay. Let's do that again. I want let's get a few more takes of that exact same thing. Just so, and then these will be the takes that we work from.
I'll trade this money for some time. I'll take whatever I can find. It's like digging for gold. It's getting old. My woes are only in my mind. Like coals, they burn a hole inside. I gotta let them go. It's getting old.
Okay. Let's go ahead and do that one more time.
I'll trade this money for some time. I'll take whatever I can find. It's like digging for gold. It's getting old. My woes are only in my mind. Like coals, they burn a hole inside. I gotta let them go. It's getting old.
Okay, cool. So a quick test. I did hear, come on, okay. I did hear a few plosions in there that got through the pop filter, but I'll actually just show you a little trick of how to get rid of those. So I figure we just leave those for now. So whenever you're doing like this, where you have a verse, this verse will just be a single vocal, but just a quick test is just to play all the vocals together to make sure nothing is like crazy different than the other takes. So we'll just listen to this really quick.
Money for some time. I'll take whatever I can find. It's It's like digging for gold. It's getting old. My woes are only in my mind. Like coals, they burn a hole inside. I gotta let them go. It's getting old.
Okay, cool. So I noticed she has a breath here in a few of the takes, but not in the other one. So I would like these to just be the same. So we're just going to punch in this one line. So Jessica, the line is,
It's getting old. My woes are
it's getting old. So I want the breath after old. It's getting old. My woes. So just a nice breath there. You were doing that in the other takes. So sometimes it's good to just let the vocalist do it again without saying anything, because sometimes your information throws them off. So, I mean, this is a really simple change, but sometimes it's a little more complicated. So sometimes a good tip is just like, just go ahead and do this again. I'm not going to say what's different, but I'm sure you'll probably fix it, you know, without even trying. All right, so go ahead and just sing from the previous line, just so it flows in naturally.
It's like digging for gold.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Here we go.
Digging for gold. It's getting old. My woes are only in my mind. Like
Okay. Cool. Yeah, and that's good. That was good what you did. She only needed to sing that one part, but she kept singing. That's exactly what you want them to do. Singing in and out of a part. It seems like a really simple thing, but not everyone is aware of that. And the breath is there. Okay, cool. So let's tackle the pre-chorus and chorus really quick. We weren't meant to be alone. Let's start from there.
we weren't meant to be, we weren't meant to be alone. Take it slow, 'cause you'll miss the years as they go by. Take it slow, 'cause the race to the end is a futile fight. Oh my, you'll never know a final goodbye.
Cool, cool. Same deal. Let's do it again.
We weren't meant to be, we weren't meant to be alone. Take it slow, 'cause you miss the years as they go by. Take it slow, 'cause the race to the end is a futile fight. Oh my, you'll never know a final goodbye.
Okay, so I noticed, I think I liked, you don't have to say this to the vocalist, but I'll just say it because this is what I'm thinking. The last take I liked better, so we're just going to record over this one with the next take. I think the last one, she was a little more bold and confident in the words. So let's go ahead and do it one more time.
We weren't meant to be, we weren't meant to be alone. Take it slow, 'cause you'll miss the years as they go by. Take it slow, 'cause the race to the end is a futile fight. Oh my, you'll never know a final goodbye.
All right, and we just need one more take, and we'll be golden. All right, let's go ahead and do it.
meant to be. We weren't meant to be alone. Take it slow, 'cause you miss the years as they go by. Take it slow, 'cause the race to the end is a futile fight. Oh my, you'll never know final goodbye.
Cool. All right, so I just want to listen to these takes together. Make sure nothing crazy is going on.
We weren't meant to be, we weren't meant to be alone. Take it slow, 'cause you'll miss the years as they go by. Take it slow, 'cause the race to the end is a futile fight. Oh my, you'll never know final goodbye.
Okay, so there was one take that was just a different timing. You did two of them right. So I have to get another take before we finish up here. So let's get one more take. All you got to do is sing the Take It Slows. Was it Take It Slow? Because you'll miss the years as they go by. Take it slow. So just those 3 lines.
Be alone. Take it slow, 'cause you'll miss the years as they go by. Take it slow, 'cause the race to the end is a futile fight.
Good. And that's it for the tracking part of this. Now, there's no prediction for me of how the session would go, and I treated Jessica the way that I would treat a good vocalist. You did a great job. Thank you, Jessica. But sometimes it doesn't go that smoothly. Sometimes you just want to. Sometimes it's really difficult, but you got to be patient, and you just need to make sure you have a strong goal in mind of where you want to take it. This was the only last slide. It's important to keep the session flowing. Stopping between takes to check your Facebook and Twitter and stuff isn't professional, and it's really annoying. I don't know if you've ever had a really good idea and you really want to track it, and the person tracking you is checking their Facebook. It's very aggravating. So don't do that. If she was getting like really, if this was a regular session and she was getting really frustrated at like one line, we would just maybe take a break, switch to a different song, switch to another line, whatever. So just keep it comfortable. Breaths, luckily, you did one wrong breath, and they're really important, especially when you have doubles. And this course is going to be tripled, and we'll show you how to make the triples sound super cool. But those breaths have to be the same for that. Punch-ins, lead in, lead out. Always, you have got to do that. And doubles, just just listening through it with all of them, making sure that there are no changes, and we took care of that. So I think we got what we need to use this later. Awesome, thank you.
That was awesome, Jessica. Thank you. Are we going to hear more of you? We're going to hear any more of her? Are we going to be editing this track
Yes,
a little bit?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Sweet.
We will hear this. It won't be her, it'll be her digital self.
All right, we have a couple questions from online as well.
Yep.
And if you guys have any questions, feel free to jump in. So Fish said, saying basically you record with only one mic. What about using a double mic setup for vocals? And what is the best setup for that kind of recording?
Well, if it's kind of like what you were talking about earlier, I've messed with like double miking and stuff, like using two completely different mics, like a dynamic and a condenser. I haven't gotten results that I was happy with. I mean, we kind of talked about that, but yeah, I haven't gotten a reason to do that.
And is there a difference between having the mics side by side versus like on top of each other?
Oh, no, not really. Okay. I mean, it's all the same.
All right, one other quick question from Mikey. Do you know if you can get away with a simple Rode NT1A for the heavier rock metal vocals?
Yeah, actually, that's a good question. I mix a lot of projects that I don't track, and I have all different types of microphones that people track with, and if you know what to listen for when you're mixing, and we're going to get into mixing later, you can almost get away with anything. Like if we had to use that 57 for this, we could make it work. I could EQ some bottom end into it and stuff, but if you can be, if you want the best vocal sound, it's the best solution is to get it right at the source. So in answer to your question, yes, you most likely could do that. But some are more ideal than others, depending on your voice and the music. But you most likely could, yes.
Okay, great. All right, well, it's time to take our next 15-minute break.
Yeah, we're going to take a 15-minute break, but if you're just tuning in or you've been watching the whole time, I want to let you know that this course is available 24/7, even when it's not streaming. You can purchase the course. The way you do that is by clicking the little blue buy button just below where it's streaming. It's down on the left side there.
Actually, the buy button, I think, is on the right.
It is on the right.
It is on the right.
It's on the right-hand side. So
Takes a team.
if you're ambidextrous, that won't be a problem for you. Otherwise, yeah, it does take two things, Susan. And so consider that what you get basically is you're able to download a high-res or low-res version of Andrew's whole course, the 2-day course, which is fantastic. And if you're like me, I'm taking as many notes as I can, and there's still stuff I want to go back and get the little nitty-gritty details of. And there's so much stuff in here, as Andrew's been teaching, that is not in a book and that you won't find on any forum, I don't think. And you guys probably know most of that stuff anyway, so consider that, and we will see you guys back here in 15 minutes.